So let's introduce and give a big welcome to Kendall Scudder, Texas Democratic Party Chair.
Instead of hiding behind this podium, I'm going to come out if that's okay. Maybe? Am I allowed to do that? Hi, how are you? Oh my gosh, thank you so much for letting me come and hang out with y'all today. As a farm kid from East Texas, it's always weird to me when people do want to hear me drone on about stuff, so I'm happy to do it if that's what you want. But I grew up on a Purple Hole Pea farm in East Texas with lesbian mamas, and that's how you know that I know how to fight. When I was 12 years old, Republicans were trying to take kids like me out of our homes and put us in foster care, so I started knocking on doors. And for more than 20 years, I've served on every level of leadership in the party. And just this March, I was elected as one of only 2 millennials in the country leading a major party here in Texas. I come from the grassroots of this party. So forgive me, I'm not always as polished as I should be. I grew up in a barn, but I also am full of really sharp opinions. So if I offend you, it's not my intention, but let's have a conversation if I take this in a direction you weren't ready for. Here's the conversation that I want to have that a lot of people aren't quite ready for. If Democrats want to have success, they need to acknowledge that they've failed. And I know that sits weird with folks. I want you to understand that comes from a place of love in my heart. I love this party. Everything I've ever had in my life was given to me because of the Democratic Party. My granddaddy was born alone on a farm with nobody in the room but his mama into a wash bucket. And it only had electricity and clean water because of Franklin Roosevelt, Sam Rayburn, the New Deal, and the Democratic Party, okay? Everything I've ever had is because of the Democrats. So when I say this to you, know it comes from a place of love. But what does it mean when the Democrats fail? Let's encounter that as a hard truth. It's not the same kind of failure that other people have, where you just get up, brush yourself off, and move on. Our failure has had huge consequences for people. It's meant schools shutting down. It's meant hospitals shutting their doors. People died because we, the Democratic Party, bottom to the top, failed to meet the moment. We have to encounter that. What that means is that there needs to be change on the horizon. And I know that change can be scary. But man, I sure hope that failure's more scary to you. I sure hope it is. Because if we keep doing things the way we've always done it, we are going to continue to let down people that are counting on us. When I grew up, my mama had me as a teenager. She didn't vote, okay? And I was watching the news. They were talking about Democrats, Republicans. Mom, what's the difference between Democrat and Republican? She says, well, Democrats are for the little people. Republicans are for corporations. We're Democrats, okay? She knew, as a teenage mother who had never voted in her life, she knew that she was a Democrat because the Democrats earned it. They earned it from her. We should not expect people to support us because they meet any demographic. We have an obligation to earn support in the same way that we had in the past. I already told you about my mother's daddy and how he was born. He also walked to school on cattle paths. And he alternated the days he went to school with his brothers because they shared a single pair of boots. And Democrats mandated that he go to school for the first time. Said public school is mandatory. Republicans kicking and screaming every step of the way, calling it socialism. He became the first person in our family that could read or write. When the droughts hit East Texas in 1959, my family lost everything. And we depended on programs from the Great Society like Medicare and Medicaid and expansions to Social Security, programs that eliminated poverty in this country by 75%. They saved my family. So when I tell you that Democrats earned the votes of working class people. I mean it. And I say it as someone who reaped the benefits of all those programs. But my story telling you that sort of stops at that. Because I haven't seen a Democratic Party coming to the table with big, bold, progressive ideas that change lives for working people. And until we as a party come face to face with that and start acting like we want to earn the vote of those people who have left us, then we're never going to win those people back. So when I say that, the point I'm making is that if you're a candidate in this room, I better not hear you out on the campaign trail talking about how you're going to preserve Social Security. You better talk about how you're going to expand Social Security. You better not start talking about how we're going to make sure you get to see a doctor when you're sick. You should be able to see a doctor before you get sick. That's what the Democratic Party is about. Big, bold, progressive ideas that change lives for working class people. There were 1.1 million Democrats who voted in the 2020 election and stayed home in the 2024 election. 1.1 million, that's a fifth of our votes in this state. They stayed home. So you don't got to take my word for it, take it from them. You put them in focus groups, they'll tell you. They don't think the Democrats fight hard enough. They think we negotiate away the things that are important to them. Whenever we ask them to compare us to animals, they compare us to slugs and turtles. That's a problem because you work your ass off. And it is not representative of you. It is not representative of the grassroots in this party. For our state party, national party to be described that way, that's because you have drugged this party forward on your back. We're now going to have offices in Dallas, Austin, Houston, Amarillo, and Eagle Pass, maybe more to come, because we are putting in the work to build this party. You can't put a sack of flour in the oven and expect it to make biscuits. But every year, we lock a bunch of consultants in a room and expect them to buy their way out of this problem. And it ain't going to happen. If you look at the map of Texas, there's 9,000 precincts. 4,500 of them don't have a precinct chair. If you look at the map of Texas, we have 254 counties. 50 of them don't have a county chair. 20% of our counties have no Democratic Party. So get your jaw off the floor when we lose elections. We have to focus on our grassroots, like somebody who brought this up to me earlier, like they did back in the 1982 coordinated, where you had folks like Ann Richards and Jim Hightower and Gary Morrow and Lloyd Benson, Mark White, Beryl Barnstorm, and all across this state, leaving no stone unturned, pulling their resources together and operating like they're on a team. Like they're on a team. Because Democrats, we don't get to the promised land fighting each other. We get there understanding that we have a shared goal that's moving in the same direction. One thing matters: winning elections. Winning elections. So, am I correct in assuming that there are some precinct chair vacancies in Travis County? And if that's the case, if you have ever thought, what can I do to be more helpful? That's where you start. And when fascism is knocking at the door, that is not the time for your imposter syndrome. So check that shit and let's sign up and get to work. So this is the gentleman you'd go to sign up to be a precinct chair. I hope you will consider doing that. That's number one. Number two, becoming grassroots donors is huge. And I hate being the guy that begs for money. But I think in the past what we've always done is beg for money and not really explain it. So let me explain it a little bit. When I walked in as chairman of the Texas Democratic Party, we had, I'll let you guess, there's 6 million people that voted for Joe Biden. How many do you think give monthly to the Texas Democratic Party? 5%. So 5% of 6 million would be a lot. Okay, that's 5% of 6 million, whatever that number is. Anybody else want to guess? Less than that. 300,000. The correct answer is it was 1,500. So when you ask questions like, where has the state party been? Why aren't they investing in data like they should? Why don't we have grassroots organizers all across the state? We have to confront a reality. And it's that the grassroots of our party lost trust in our state party.
That's true.
Right? And so I am having this conversation open to tell you I am not asking everyone in this room to go online on your phone right now and become a sustaining member of the party. It'd be great if you did, but that's not what I'm asking you to do. What I'm asking is for the opportunity to earn your support back, because we're working hard to try to build a party. If I can get 2% of people that voted for Joe Biden to give $10 a month to the party, we are now bringing in $1.2 million a month. And then I'm handing out checks to the Travis County Democratic Party, right? At that point, we're actually a helpful entity. But we can't do that unless we start harnessing the power of our grassroots. This is not about paying consultants. It's not about calling the same rich people to write the same big checks over and over and over again. It's about building a party that is accountable to you, the grassroots of our party. That's who we should work for. That should be our priority. That's number 2. And I'm sure in that conversation, the Travis County Democratic Party would appreciate the same. And I would tell you that if you're pinching pennies because we're having tough times right now, please prioritize the Travis County Democratic Party over the Texas Democratic Party, because they have less people to pull from than we do, right? So it makes a lot of sense. The third thing that you can do to be helpful, and this is the last thing, I promise you I'm wrapping up. I know I went over my time.
No, you're fine.
Third thing that I have that you can do to be helpful to us as a party, especially if you live in a place like Lakeway, especially if you live in a place like rural East Texas, I want you to be proud to be a Democrat.